The second way we can raise awareness of our sense of identity is by reflecting on our actions. So how do we behave in certain situations? And in my teacher development courses and workshops, we get participants to perform a variety of games and activities, and then reflect on how they behaved and why they behaved in that way. And this is done in order to raise awareness of their identity and their sense of identity, of who they are. This is an activity that I describe as a transformation activity. And when I say this to teachers, they assume that it's a grammar transformation activity. And they say things like, oh, are we transforming active sentence to passive, or direct speech to reported speech? And I say, no, we're transforming ourselves. We're transforming ourselves into an animal. It's a bird with large eyes, and it comes out at night, and it can turn its head right round, and it's wise. And I say, okay, an owl. And this is an activity I first saw in a book by Alan Maley, and the book was on training your voice. So in the book, it was a vocal activity. However, in my workshops, I use it as a metaphor for reflecting on teacher creativity and imagination. So the way it works is I tell teachers that there's an element of danger, and that we're going to transform into an owl, and they have to do exactly what I do, because generally transforming into an owl is relatively straightforward, but transforming back again into a human being is not so easy. So they have to take their right hand and put it on their left shoulder, breathe in, and then when they bring their eyes forward again, they breathe in, look over their left shoulder, and when they bring their eyes back to the front again, they have to make the sound of an owl. Ooh. And I'm just going to show you a demonstration of this, a colleague doing this activity.
How is it that as adults, what is so natural for us as kids suddenly becomes uncomfortable and weird and strange, and we don't want to do it?
The kids are natural.
So what happens to us?
We all became the same person. Like we become conditioned by society, rules, people, opinions.
That's true, but why? Who tells us not to? Society, school,
family,
yes.
job descriptions.
Yes. What drama does is that it removes that barrier, it takes the block away, and lets that natural child to develop and to act.
So the reflection is the interesting part of this activity, reflecting on how children use their imagination creatively in a very natural way, so they can transform from a soldier to a train driver to a dog without any problem, or from a princess to a witch to a frog. And this comes very easily for children when they're playing. They use their creative imagination. But when we ask teachers how did they feel about doing this particular activity, very often they feel uncomfortable and uneasy. And then we can say, okay, why do you think this is the case? Why something that for children is so natural for you has become more self-conscious? And this gets them to reflect on their sense of self. So, what does facilitating involve? Well, basically, I believe that to develop facilitation skills, we need to look at three elements: raising awareness of ourself, So developing our ability to listen actively, to have eye contact, to show interest. Also developing our awareness of others, so interacting with others, asking effective questions, giving feedback, and also raising awareness of our identity, our sense of self, knowing ourselves in terms of our beliefs and attitudes. So how can we develop these skills? Well, there are numerous activities that I use, and I'll describe a sort of brief selection of some of them. So this is a physical activity to raise awareness of our body and how it moves. It's also a low focus way of building trust and rapport with the group.
Your face and my hand should have the same orientation. That means your hair should be here, aligned with this, with my fingers. And your chin, you don't move. Your chin is always in the same alignment with the base of my hand. So if I do this, you need to do whatever necessary to maintain your face where it is.
Yes! Well done! Well done!
Now wake up. Okay? Now do the same in pairs.
So the reflection stage after the activity is important. You can ask questions like, did you prefer to be the hypnotist or the person being hypnotized? Why? And then extend this to other people in your life who you are following. Are there people who are following you? Are you a good role model for your learners? So this activity acts as a vehicle for raising awareness of our embodied presence, but also a stimulant for interrogating our sense of identity and why we behave in the way that we do. Another activity is a kind of kinesthetic activity. It's called the wink game. Essentially, this is a concentration game that establishes a high degree of eye contact between the group, and it enhances group awareness. Basically, everyone stands or sits in a circle with one participant in the middle, and then the participants in the circle choose someone that they wink at them, and the wink is a signal to change places, and they need to change places quickly so the person in the middle doesn't take their place. So reflection on this activity can include questions such as, how did you feel when you were in the middle? Who was in the middle most often? Why? Because often that's the extrovert of the group. Who did you wink at? And these questions get teachers to reflect on how they behaved in the activity. This basic format can be extended. So we can use it as a way of getting learners to talk about their own experiences. I mean, the aim in most teacher development programs is to get teachers talking about their experiences. There needs to be some kind of self-disclosure. There needs to be some kind of investment in the process. So everyone who changed places, the participants stand in a circle again, and the person in the middle makes a sentence. So everyone who likes tea, what have you, change places. And it could be a topic. So, for example, if we're talking about teachers' issues, problems, it could be something like everyone who has disruptive students in their class change places. And this way, people can share their experiences, and it demonstrates that other people have similar problems. A variation on this is step forward if you have.
Step forward if you have or ever had toxic colleagues. In other words, people who gave a negative energy.
Have ever asked questions?
And once people have responded, then it's an opportunity for them to talk about their experiences. Map on the floor. Again, this is an activity to get workshop participants self-disclosing personal information. It helps build rapport and trust and a group dynamic. Basically, the facilitator asks participants to imagine there's a map on the floor. Could be a world map and participants stand where they're born or where they live, or a map of the city and they stand in their favourite place. And then participants talk to the people near them and share their experiences. And this can be extended to Take Me on a Journey, where the participants take their partner on a journey. And here is
Sigana, welcome to Kuwait. This is where I was born. Let me take you around my town. This town is called Ahmadi. This is my house, 39 First Street North. Do you want to go into my house?
Of course.
Okay, so let's go through the garden. There's a small garden. And just take them on a tour of your place. The guest should be extremely interested. Ask lots of questions. Wow, who's that? Where did you go? So don't be a sort of, okay.
What
Ask lots of
number
questions.
was your street?
This next activity is Fox and the Hound or Cat and Mouse. And basically it's an activity, a tag activity. The aim is to raise energy levels, to foster group communication, coherence. But more importantly, is to stimulate reflection after the activity. And this is how it works.
Face each other and hold each other's like that. Okay. With a bit of space between you. Okay. So this is a hole in the ground. Okay. Sharon, you're going to be the hound.
A hound.
A hound. A dog.
Oh, okay.
And Cheryl, you're going to be the fox. Okay. So the hound is going to chase the fox, and the fox can get safe by diving into a hole. When they're in the hole, that releases, depending on how they enter the hole, that releases, they chuck somebody out of the hole, and then you have to run because you're the fox, okay? So it's similar to the game we did last time, but it depends.
If I catch
chuck
the
out the back or
fox,
chuck
do I become a hound?
yes, and then if you tag the fox, you change roles. Okay, go.
It'd be easier to go out with that.
Oh, that's me.
I thought it was me.
Didn't go tag it. You're out.
No, Sharon.
Wait. Start mine.
This isn't very nice though. Sorry, Robin. I'm sorry.
So in the reflection stage, we can ask questions like, did you prefer chasing or being chased? Why? And then broaden the topic. So where do you go in your life? Where do you go to hide from danger? What are you chasing in your life? What are you running from? So the game, the activity, is a vehicle to get participants to consider some of these issues. It's kind of like a metaphor.